If Theo wasn't so insistent on helping the bastard, I'd have left him to find his own way out of this mess.
If we could only track down the author of the letters and convince them to recant these statements, the student body would have no choice but to withdraw their motion. But where would we even search? A brilliant plan, K'nekotein. By examining all the letters that have been distributed throughout the Scholasticate, we may very well find clues leading us to the culprit.
It's settled, then. Let's return to the Scholasticate and commence our search.
Pray keep your voice down when inside the Scholasticate.
A few of the seminarians were generous enough to lend us letters they received. Upon closer examination, it would appear that while the overarching message is the same, the precise arguments may differ from letter to letter. Whatever could this mean?
It would seem that more than a few of the students tossed the papers in the rubbish without so much as reading them. Thankfully, I was able to scavenge some of the ones that had been thrown away.
Theo has already apprised me of the situation. Not that he needed to, mind you. It is for that very reason that I remained behind with Blazy, to investigate the origin of the nasty rumors flying about. It didn't take long for us to connect the rumors to the letters and coax one of the seminarians to show us the document they had received. I investigated further, and behold, these are all the ones I managed to collect in my search thus far. Under normal circumstances, the baseless invectives penned here would hardly suffice to convince anyone. It would seem, however, years of harbored animosity have blinded people to their better judgment. So intense is the hostility towards our combatant that seminarians are desperately searching for any excuse to have him removed from the Scholasticate. These letters have provided just that, and at the worst possible time.
Oh, yes. In fact, K'nekotein and I have been gathering letters all evening. Feast your eyes on this. One of the girls said that the letter just showed up on her bed, as if out of nowhere. I returned to my quarters to check if I had received something similar, but there was nothing to be found. At first I thought it a simple oversight, but after asking around, I learned that there were more than a few others who, like me, had been overlooked. Which leads us to the question, why is it that only certain seminarians are receiving the letters? What is it they have in common?
Suspicious letters? Whatever are you talking about? I've not received anything of the sort. Now that you mention it, however, I did observe some of the seminarians tossing out crumpled slips of paper. Mayhap these are the letters you seek? I wish I could be of more assistance, but I fear that is the extent of my knowledge. Good luck in your search.
Ah, K'nekotein. Did your search prove fruitful? Excellent. Let us take a closer look and see what we can discern. How curious. It would appear our culprit has gone through the trouble of writing and distributing 3 distinctly different versions of the letter. The first reads as illustrated by the recent abduction that has taken place within these sacred halls. Our combatant will stop at nothing to eliminate those who stand in his way. Such blatant disrespect of her teachings must not be tolerated. The second says it is one thing to disagree with the opinions of your fellow seminarians. It is quite another to abuse one's influence to have your ideological opponents removed. Voila, a firm believer in the teachings of Volume 11 of the Articles of Hellenic Polity and staunch advocate of equality fell victim to our combatant's treachery. The villain cannot go unpunished. And last but not least, Vola's copy of Volume 11 was discovered in the prefect's room shortly after the girl's disappearance. This, more than anything, proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that our combatant is guilty. While the final letter at least offers an argument, it's hardly a compelling one.
Correct me if I'm mistaken, but aren't there several copies of the Articles of Hellenic Polity sitting on our library shelves? While I can't speak to why our combatant would have one in the first place, the book found in his quarters could have been any one of those.
Blazy, when you spoke with Vola earlier, did she mention anything about Volume 11?
I didn't think anything of it at the time, but while Lola was recovering in the infirmary, she asked that I retrieve her copy from her room. When I went to look for it, it wasn't there.
Which would mean the tome was removed unbeknownst to her.
So it would seem. After all, she testified that when the 2 thugs seized her at the marketplace, she had nothing on her person but a pocket of gil. Presumably, the book was still in her quarters then.
It would be one thing if the book had disappeared with Tula, but for someone to sneak into her room and remove it after the fact. Why, it's as if the culprit intended to use it to frame our combatant all along.
Why, I'd bet my last gil you're right, and that's the reason none of us received the letter. We're the only people who would be able to confirm with Vola that the book had been pilfered from her room. But who would go to such great lengths to frame our combatant? That's our Theo. Always striving to help his fellow man, even if that man is all that stands between him and the top of the class. It's enough to leave a girl smitten, isn't it, Blazy?
What are you talking about? I'm not smitten. I just admire him for his kind heart, is all.
Blazy? Why ever did she dash off like that? Has she taken ill? In a manner of speaking. I'll go and make sure she's okay. Oh dear. Well, whatever it is, I hope she recovers quickly. In the meantime, we need to put our heads together if we hope to get out of this mess. K'nekotein, what do you think? Why would anyone go to such lengths to implicate our combatant? But of course, none save the kidnapper him or herself would have such a strong motive to concoct this convoluted plan. Which raises the possibility that the kidnapping was naught but a plot to have our combatant expelled in the first place.
In other words, if we can track down the person behind these letters, we'll have ourselves the culprit behind Ula's abduction. We must inform Inspector Briardian straight away.
He's currently conducting an investigation at the vault, you say? Let us make our way there with all speed. Blaisee's quicker than she looks. I gave up my search when it became evident I had no chance of finding her and was just on my way back when lo and behold, who do I see but you three?
A perfect vantage point. From here. That's him. Over there.
Ah, it's you. What brings you all the way here? Do you have something to report? I see. Show me these letters. I shall determine if they are as suspicious as you insist.
This is everything we've been able to find.
The author goes out of his way to mention that Eula's copy of Volume 11 was found in Arcombadin's room. The fool. In his feeble plot to frame the prefect, he has only incriminated himself. I trust that you, too, have put the pieces together. You have proven an able associate, indeed. It is from here, however, that the real work begins. Should at any time you begin to feel your powers of concentration waver or your attention to detail slip, you need but do this: take a deep breath and focus your eyes into the distance. In that moment, the solution will appear before you. The game is afoot, and if we intend to win the day, we must remain vigilant. Now, let's get our man.
You have learned the emote spectacles.